a very special happy birthday to our guest of honor, Scott. So we're at St. Pancras and we've got Eurostar trains behind us, which are fantastic. And we are staying at the Renaissance Hotel, which is behind us. And not just the Renaissance Hotel, but because I happen to be a Envoy Titanium member, I've got access to the Chamber Club, which is amazing. So, Scott, what was your impression of the Chamber Club?
I mean, it's a beautiful old world, beautiful old world hotel, private lounge. I mean, it's a beautiful room. The hotel itself is from the 1850s. I think it's technically termed Gothic Revival.
So my previous benchmark was the Nines Hotel in Portland, Oregon. The lounge there, I first walked in and they had lobster bisque on the menu, and I thought that was quite something. However, you walk into this lounge and it kicks up significantly. And it doesn't compare.
And the staff were saying, "Oh, this little English tea that we have right now, this is quite nothing until you come and you actually have." Pre-dinner canapes and stuff with us later on this evening.
Yep. So, and they have real champagne, not wine, not well, they've got wine,
they do,
but like champagne on the menu, the real deal. So
yeah. So all in all.
So Scott, it looks like you have the joy of bliss on your face.
It's lovely. It's, it's an interesting pairing for breakfast, right? Sort of the, classic mimosa or whatever, but having the three different styles, sort of straight up is very different.
So it's a brut, a rosé, and an extra brut.
An extra old, extra brut.
Yeah. All good. Anything else you'd like to add?
No, it's a really nice experience here at Circe's at St. Pancras. This happens to be a tasting trio, that they do, with a nice presentation by the servers on sort of the history of the house and the various styles. So as we said. As you're saying, that the brutes, which is sort of a more standard style, a rosé, which not very many champagne houses actually do, because it's very difficult, and then this one, which is the extra brut, extra old. So what we were told is that the extra brut, extra old was made from reserved wines that have had a chance to mature, and then they're actually taken through the process of being made into champagne. So all in all, very nice.
Hi everybody, we are starting our Disneyland adventure. First took the RERA train and now we head to the parks. So this is Valley, Chessy, and this is the stop at the very end of the line. We came from the other end of the line at La Défense. So we've done the full A line. I've always been fascinated by these trains. They're two levels, really three if you count sort of the part over here. So very similar to the Bombardier bi-level carriages in Toronto and other places, but definitely quite fascinating. So TGV, Eurostar, and also the RER come here, so very easy to get to Parc Disneyland, and I think Walt Disney would be well chuffed to see something like that happen. But first off, I'm going to introduce Scott to Prince cookies, because these were a staple of my time in Germany, and they're available here and across Europe. So unfortunately I kind of dropped the package. They're a little bit crumbled, but give it a shot, Scott. chocolatey sandwich cookie goodness.
All together!
So Scott and I have spent the past day here at Disneyland Paris, and here's an interesting tip. If you're a fan of sci-fi dine-in theater at Hollywood Studios, this is a really interesting alternative. You can get lunch at Videopolis, and they play similar cartoons and things here at Disneyland Paris. So you don't need a reservation, and there's a massive amount of seating here. There's your tip of the day from Disneyland Paris. So Scott and I are at Disneyland Park. So, first tip of the day is get yourself a fast pass. And given many of you are traveling many miles to get to Disneyland Paris, it makes sense to, I think, pay for said fast pass. So what we've got is we've got the ultimate fast pass. It gets us on each ride, each of the key rides just once. So Ratatouille, Tower of Terror, Rock and Roller Coaster, Big Thunder Mountain, Star Wars Hyperspace Mountain, which we still have to get on. It was closed down earlier today. Indiana Jones et le Temple du Paris, so Temple of Peril, Peter Pan's Flight, Buzz Lightyear's Laser Blast, and Star Tours. What do you think of the park so far?
You know what? I think, I've heard complaints about the park from various people saying that, it's run down, it's got various problems. But I think, I think when Disney retook more interest in it in the last, 10 years or so, that it's really turned into a really nice park. Go ahead.
Disneyland Paris is fantastic. And the one thing that I think Scott and I both agree on is this is the thrill ride park that I think everybody's been wanting from Disney. You've got Big Thunder Mountain, which is behind us. You've got the Indiana Jones roller coaster, which takes you upside down. You've got Hyperspace Mountain, which takes you upside down.
I mean, the one thing I was saying to Ian on Big Thunder Mountain was that this goes way harder, way faster than the ones that we've been on in the States.
So both, I think, Walt Disney Studios Park and Disneyland Paris both get the big, massive thumbs up. Japan has always been, I think will always be, so Tokyo Disneyland and Tokyo Disney Sea will probably be our most favorite park, but I think this one, for me, comes second. I think second place in the whole system.
Pretty close.
Obviously, we haven't been to Shanghai yet. A friend of mine said that this was sort of the uncle that tries too hard and kind of does it with some funny outcomes. However, to us, that's Hong Kong. The Hong Kong park feels only like it's partially a Disney property.
Yeah.
However, this one really kicks it up.
Yeah, they've got all the look and feel. I mean, the staff are on point. The one thing we did notice here that is different than any of the other Disney parks, Disney parks has this very strict sort of policy around everybody being very clean cut, very
No tats showing.
No tat showing, and we've seen more than a number of staff members with full tattoo sleeves,
which is fantastic to see because diversity and we understand where Disney is coming from the old world perspective, no facial hair, etc. But that's
welcome
to the new world.
That's what part of the world is changing, and tattoos are being more and more accepted as art.
Yep,
as they should be.
Exactly. So anyway, Disneyland Paris, you get a big thumbs up from us. Apparently, there's a dragon underneath there. We need to find it. So Scott, we're going somewhere special here.
Yeah. It's apparently a place that not everyone knows about, despite actually having a sign. Yeah, despite it's not having a sign, apparently it's some place that people don't know a lot about. And it's actually Le Tanier du Dragon.
I'm nervous about this. Nice dragon. Happy dragon. Happy dragon. Nice dragon. Most of the lands here at Disneyland Paris are pretty similar to the parks, some of the other parks in the system. So a little bit of Hong Kong, a little bit of Tokyo, and certainly a lot of the US parks. However, the one area that's unique is Discoveryland. So Discoveryland is full of Jules Verne-ish, steampunkish stuff, and it's fantastic. So you've got Hyperspace Mountain, you've got the Orbiter, you've got other rides such as Buzz Lightyear's Laser Blast. So some very similar rides, but the Space Mountain here is unique. It's almost like Space Mountain meets the Incredicoaster, and I'm gonna just leave it at that. The one thing I wish it had was the original theming rather than the Star Wars theming that it now has. It seems a little weird, but it does work. I mean, it is a fantastic ride. And also unique in the systems, it goes upside down. So that's what, 3 roller coasters here, at least, that go upside down. So again, putting within the Disneyland parks, one of the most unique with thrill rides. The other thing that's kind of interesting about this area of the park is the US parks feel really dated. Given they were built at older times and in some respects the 60s, designed 60s, 70s. This part feels much newer, a little bit more cohesive, etc. Which is ironic because steampunkish is meant to be a little bit older, etc. But I happen to really like this area of the park. It's a trick. The pin trading cases that you can get, they may actually be cheaper over here after the exchange rate. So they're 39 euros, and I think they're about 50 bucks in the US. So, add tax on top, where here that's tax inclusive, it's not a bad deal.